Any questions, guys, from a previous session to discuss before starting the class? Any questions you want to bring it up? Chiranjeevi, do you have any questions? Harsha, Venkat, Shiva?
No, Surendra, today I didn't get a chance to go through actually. I'm stuck with other works.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I just heard about one thing. What is virtual machine scale sets?
So virtual machine scale set is nothing but it is a combination of multiple instances. So why it is required and what kind of scenarios will go for a scale set, we will discuss them. So when it comes to app service, by the time I will explain the feasibility of scale in and scale out. Once you understand that scale in and scale out as a service, as an offering from an Azure, so that the virtual machine scale set functionality also you could be able to easily understand. I mean, let's say you have an application. I will give you a glance about it now. Let's say you have an application, right? In the backend, it is serving, assume that you created a virtual machine scale set. It is also an operating system and a VM only, right? You can increase the number of VMs, decrease the number of VMs based on usage of your application, based on the condition you can define, based on the schedule you want to increase the number of worker nodes in the backend as many as it needed automatically. You don't need to do the setup anything on a manual. It is the main advantage of it. But yeah, you will get more understanding when once you get understanding about scale in and scale out. We will discuss about it when it comes to a web app as a solution.
Okay.
Any other things? Hmm. So let me give a glance like what we have discussed in part of previous session. So we have talked about storage account, right? A disk we have discussed. Subsequent to the as part of a disk, the core component we discussed about premium SSD, standard SSD, and standard hard drives. So mainly SSDs in the hard drive, it differs in the performance and read and write and IOPS will be high when it compares to hard drive with SSD. And then we also talked about encryption at rest with a customer managed, encryption at rest platform managed. When I say platform managed, the encryption keys will be completely handling by Microsoft. If we select customer managed, we need to bring in our own disk encryption set by creating a keys in our own key vault. So key vault is altogether different service. We will get covered as part of our sessions in subsequent classes. And immediately what we have seen, we also seen how to add data drives like your D drive, E drive to your computer or your server. We have seen how you can create a disks for your virtual machine. Immediately we have pitched into the storage account concepts, whereas we have discussed about version 2 and version 1. So version 2 has a per GB cost will be pretty much lower. Version 1 will be a bit higher. Why it is version 2 will be cheaper? In yesterday's session, if you guys remember, we have discussed about access tiers, hard tier, cool tier, and archival tier, right? Hard tier refers to you can store frequently accessed data. Cool tier refers to infrequently accessed data. Archival tier refers to rarely accessed data. Right? So based on the tiers, your cost will come down. I'm going to show you as part of today's session how you can calculate and how exactly you could see the huge difference when it comes to billing by selecting the sizes. Second layer is we also talked about redundancy, providing high availability for your storage, right? By selecting LRS, ZRS, GRS, GZRS, combination of ZRS with GRS, RAGRS. So what exactly do? What are the data you just place at your Azure storage account? The storage account data will be maintained 3 copies in a local data center, that is LRS, local redundant storage. So why we need 3 copies, 3 different physical boxes? If something happens, right, you could easily, without knowing that there is happened some incidents happen in the backend to your workloads, right? Will not even feel that there is an impact to our data because Azure has a three copies in the backend. If at all, if one or two data points went down, always have a high availability from a third endpoint or a third copy. When it comes to zone redundant, what they will do, they will maintain your data three copies into three different zones in a single region. Geo redundant is they will maintain three copies locally. It can be a LRS, it can be a ZRS. Apart from a local region three copies, they will also maintain three more copies in a different geographic location. So that what will happen? Your data will be synchronized from a primary physical region to secondary physical region. For example, you are keeping a data of your storage in a primary region, let's say Central India or South India. You are selected replication type as a geo-redundant. What will happen? Your data will be synchronized somewhere to West Europe, US, Australia. You can select which of the region you try to, and then maintain the three more copies set different geographic region. So that if entire South India or entire Central India got affected with the floods or whatever the natural calamities, your data will be highly available at secondary region. Read access also similar to geo-redundant, but you cannot write the data when the disaster happens. You can only read the content from a secondary region. So only thing you should be cautious about is the cost compared to LRS and GRS. It will be actually double the cost because they are maintaining in a two different bases.
Surendra, here, what is the advantage of fault domain then? Because we said like fault domain also we can maintain three, and we have like again the similar explanation you are given there as well, right? What is the major difference between these two then?
Which two you are referring to, Sanjeev,
No,
actually?
fault domain. You said like we will go with fault three fault domains for this like at the data center where the similar
Uh,
issue occurs.
Whatever
So
we discussed as part of our virtual mission, that high availability concept is only applicable for your virtual machines alone. When you
oh,
want to run a virtual machine, you need a physical hardware which comprises of your CPU memory and
right.
entire rack server, or you have blade servers, right? And the back end, the physical hardware to run your virtual. That is the complete altogether different topic for your virtual machines to run and provide high availability.
Okay, both
This,
are okay. Okay, understood. This is at the virtual machine level. That is at the store. I mean, infrastructure level.
this is dedicatedly for a storage box.
Storage.
Storage again is a physical box. This is altogether different concept in providing the high availability.
Okay. No, no, and this I got the topic when you compare right now fault domain topic which we discussed in previous classes, right? So I'm
Hmm.
just comparing because fault domain again we have three fault domains. We have again this is a similar discussion we had there also, right? If one domain one node goes down, other two will subsequently cater required functionality. So here also we are saying the similar stuff three copies of the storage in the three different zones or something. So how we can relate to both of these two?
Now here one data only you are keeping duplicate copies as a three. Logical copies or duplicate copies or pointers. You will do the backend technology, but data will be same, one data only. But if you compare with the other topic, there you should have a three different virtual machines, three different physical operating systems you are running. That is
Okay.
fault domain. Here it is data is one copy only. So let's say you are
Okay.
uploading one notepad file, your file is one, but as part of a design of a Microsoft in the backend, we will be not worried about what technology it has been using in the backend, but what Microsoft is agreed that we will maintain three copies for you at any point in time.
Okay. In the real time scenario, what customer opts for, whether they opt for this
It's
replication
not
type or
even,
like they will go for fault domain like a setup.
no, it is, that's what I'm saying. So fault domain is only dedicated for virtual machines only.
Only
That will
okay.
not have any kind of a correlation with the stories.
Storage. Okay. Both are different.
Both are different. Yes. Any other questions? Right. So And also we have talked about different types of storages, that is blobs, queues, and tables and file shares. As I mentioned, blobs will be used to store your all your unstructured data. It can be any kind of a file. We are going to see as part of today's session by uploading some content to your blob storage. So whatever the files you upload, that blobs will call it as a blob. It means any kind of unstructured data you dump into the blob storage, will call them as a blob. There is other kind of a blob storage we'll call as a page blob. When I mean page blob, all your disk files, if you are bringing into your Azure storage account, some reasons if you want to copy or maintain, those files will call it as a page blob. And we have a queues as a storage. Queues will be used for your asynchronous based applications where you want to use it for some kind of messaging based applications which has to perform one after another request, right? In a sequential manner, you will go with the queues as a storage. Table storage will be used for all your structured data. NoSQL data can be placed as table storage. File shares will be used as your equivalent to your network drive. Whereas you can map your data drives or network drives anywhere in the world with the help of internet. Right? These are all the types we have discussed. And also we have discussed about storage account creation as well. That is AZT27. This is the storage account we have created as part of yesterday's session. Right? These are the overview which we have discussed, LRS, version 2 and all other stuff. So if you just see here as a container, so containers is nothing but your blob files. So if you want to create a container refers to, it is just a folder equivalent to your laptop folder only as to segregate your data. Let's say I want to put a data called sessions. Alright, it is also not allow your special characters, capital letters. It should be smaller cases only. And you could see something called public access level. What is by default setting here? Private. When it is a private, what it means, you cannot access this data over the internet. Clear? If you want to allow the data over the internet, you need to select blob or container anonymous access. You could see that in the brackets, anonymous read access for a blob, anonymous read access for entire folder, that is my container. Right? What I will do, I will put it for now as a container, it means entire folder, anonymous read access. It means anyone can read my content in the folder. Let's say this is my sessions is the folder. I was just getting into the folder. Now I will upload and download the files to it. That is nothing but my blob files. As I mentioned, blobs and containers can have any sort of a file. There is no restriction that you need to upload or you need to manage only this set of a files. As I mentioned, it's unstructured data. You name it any kind of a file, it will allow. You dump it without having any dependency, without have a second thought of storage capacity. It will be completely managed services from Microsoft. Clear? If you want to upload a file manually, click on this upload file, select a file which you would like to upload. If you see under the downloads, I am uploading this one of the a session of my classes, Azure Training 26. This is one of the video file. If you see here, it's uploading the file is 0 bytes, 4 MB, 147 MB. Total file is 147 is the file size. So we have been uploading. So meantime, let me upload one more set of files so that we'll have an. So let's say Azure training. I'm uploading my text file. Click on upload. I'm uploading one more file. That is my image file, JPG file. Click on upload. And you can upload one more file, whatever it is, like AZT13, for example. One more file, click on upload. So what I have just done, I was uploading one PNG format file, one JPEG file, one text file, and one image file also I'm just uploading. I'm not sure why it's pretty much slow here. The uploads will always be depends on our own internet speed, right? So Azure does support in petabytes of network bandwidth. It is up to our network speed, how well we have been having the speed. Let me check the speed state. I'm having very good internet. I'm not sure why it is pretty much slow, but normally it used to be faster. It won't take this much time, but you can give a try and test it in your storage account, uploading some files and all other stuff. Okay, guys. So let it get uploaded. It won't take much time. Are you able to see here name modified access tiers is a hard tier? What is mean by hard tier? Which we discussed yesterday and today.
Data access in the regular intervals.
Yeah, correct. So this is what I'm referring. So when you're selecting hard tier means it is frequently accessed data. Okay. Now I will show you like each and every option we're going to discuss. These all these options, whatever you could see on top, and we'll discuss everything. And one more thing, are you able to notice what is the blob type here by default? What is the blob which I highlighted here?
Block.
Hmm. You remember under the blobs, you have two types. One is block blob, other one is page blob. Whatever the format you see here, everything will fall under block blob. If the format of the file is ending with .vhd, any of the disk files will be considered as a page blob. You will see the property here as page blob. Clear? And you can see the size of the file. So what I'm doing now, I want to access this text file, for example. I click on it. You could see some URL for it. It is more properties of the file, type, size, tiers, creation date, modified date, everything it does contains granular level of a control. So I'm just copying this URL and I just want to explain the how the URL look like. If you see what is the format it contains, HTTPS storage account name, your storage account name is AZT27. What is the type of this file? Is a blob file, and this URL core.windows.net is the common, and then my container name is sessions, under which I have a file name called Azure Training text file. So as I mentioned, your data can be accessed through the internet anywhere in the world. So I'm just typing this URL. Are you able to see our training sessions details here? Right? Whatever the syllabus which we're going to cover, I just saved it in a notepad. Are you able to see that I'm accessing that file using a browser typically? Similarly, you name it any file. Let's say I want to data center as an image. I'm just copying it, paste it in the browser and enter. Are you able to see the image? You could see it in the browser, JPG file, right? And let's say I want to access a video file. I'm just copying it, put it in the browser. You could see video is playing in the browser, right? I am playing an MP4 file over the browser. It means I am able to read the content from anywhere in the world. If now you got some fair bit of an understanding why I said that as a prerequisite, your name of a storage account cannot be duplicate. It should always be unique in the name. Now you could understand it because we are accessing as a URL in the internet, and that should not be get conflict with the other users. That's where you need to provide unique name. Is it clear, guys? Chiranjeevi, now you have some fair bit of an understanding why we are having storage and blobs, containers and the blobs. Instead, we are having already virtual machines as a disks.
Yeah.
right?
So Sitendra, one question, right?
Yes, please.
So we have created a sessions container in virtual machine, right?
No, in a storage actually.
A storage.
It's a
Where is the
storage
storage?
altogether separate service. We created a storage account named called AZT27. This is the storage account under which it has a it does serve you for a four different purposes. So we are just talking about one of the purpose is blob as a storage type. That is containers under which I create sessions as a folder name. That is nothing but container name. Now tell
No,
me.
outside of the VMware, right?
Yeah, it is nowhere related to the virtual machine. Altogether separate concept component.
Okay.
Yeah. Now let me get into the sessions. So before that, I'm just going to the notepad file. Are you able to see here? This is your storage account URL, correct? Storage account name dot type of your storage, that is blob dot core, right? For example, it is a file share. It will be file.core, your URL I'm saying. If it's the table storage, your URL will be storage account name dot table. If your storage type is Q storage, here it will be q dot quv dot core dot windows dot net. It means by seeing the URL of your storage account, were you able to identify what is the kind of storage it is being, right? Are you able to understand what is the kind of storage?
Surrender, you told okay. If you saved it the dot file, what is the property for that one? Is it page or blob?
Which one you are referring, Saidu?
Blob type.
If you see whatever the file you save it, no, it will everything will be fall under blob only.
Okay. Yep.
Everything. Apart from any file with the extension of .vhd, that is your disk file of your virtual machines. If at all you are copying for whatever the purpose, bringing the disks into your storage blob, then your blob type will be shown as a page blob.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So this is what I'm referring. By default, if you could see your access tiers is hard tier. Assume that you feel like this particular thing file is you're unable to not required to access frequently. You will say that infrequently access the data. Directly you go ahead and select the cool tier and click on save. So now what will happen? This particular file will tier goes to cool tier, right? So if at all again you feel like I'm not even accessing this data infrequently, I want to change it back from cool tier to archival tier. So when I click on what will happen? It will move to archival format. When I say the archival, it means rarely access the data. Your cost will be drastically will come down, but when you are retrieving, you need to wait for some time to retrieve the data, and retrieval charges will be a bit higher. Clear folks about the hard tires. Let me show you the real difference, right? So why we need these access tires, what this premium and standard will do, what is the difference in using right for hard drives and SSDs. Let me show you in a pricing calculator. Azure pricing calculator. Click here. I'm just typing storage. If you see that I'm just selected a storage, so before that probably I could give you an brief about storage. So this is the URL guys, Azure storage pricing calculator, whereas you could estimate, create a costing for any of the Azure products. So when I say any product, you could see all the things here: compute, network, storage, web, mobile, Docker containers, databases, analytics, artificial machine learning, internet, IoT. DevOps, developer, security. So you name it, any service in Azure, it does give you the cost details. So for us now, we need a cost details for storage accounts. I was requesting you to guys navigate this URL, explore how the cost look like for your services, right? For you are creating one virtual machine with a general purpose 2 core and 8 GB, what is the cost? Changing it to the memory optimized, what is the cost? So everything with the matter of cost when you are dealing with cloud. So now why I'm not explaining about cost for a virtual machine, why I'm explaining to you on storage, because this is where it has very good use case in understanding, right? That's where I just brought in. If you see here, I was selected a region, so whichever the region you wish like to. So let's say I'm just selecting Central India. What is the type of blob, guys? In my case, I'm just selecting as a blob. It means any unstructured data. I am putting it in a standard tier. Version is version 2. So if I set version 1, for example, if you see, are you getting the access tiers options, hot tier, cool tier option, guys, here? You don't have that option at all, correct? And if you just notice the 1000 GB of a cost, what is the dollars you are paying for it for $1,000?
26.40.
$26. Now I'm just changing it to the version to the latest available version. What is the 1000 GB cost you are paying here?
20.
It's a less, right? Per GB cost is cheaper in version 2. That is main difference. Second difference is you have this access tier option, hard tier, cool tier, and archival tier option. Is that option came for a version 1?
No, no.
Right? You are not even getting this option. Let me change back to version 1. If you see that option itself is went up, it means you copy the data, you use it frequently, infrequently, rarely, doesn't matter, right? You will be charged for $26. But when it comes to version 2, you have these access tiers, right? Hard tier. If you see hard tier, I am paying for $20. Assume that I am not gonna use for hard tier. I am saying that infrequently I will access my data so that I will change the tier of my data. What is the amount I'm paying here?
$7.
For the same 1000 GB of a capacity, I'll be paying for only $11, right? Similarly, if you decide that I'm going to access this data rarely, you can select archival data for the same 1000 GB. How much? What is the cost? You are seeing here
$2.
$2. Where is $20 and $2? Right? This kind of an access tier options you won't get it in version 1. And this is where your cost will differ even version 2 if you plan very uh, kind of in a manner that if you are clear with the data what you are going to place, how exactly you are going to make use of the data, or you are just using this blob as dumping yard, you are not concerned about using the data, right? For the sake of some purpose only you are just want to use, you can go with the cool or archival tier so that your cost will be not the actual, it will give you half of the 90% of a discount. Till that it's clear, folks. Any questions about the cost for a calculation for storage? Any questions till now?
Yes, rather in the container you have placed different type of files, and I mean there is an option to change this access type, right? From hot
Correct.
to cold to archive. So when you want to opt this, when you want to go with this casting, in the container, like we may have files with access type hot, cold. How we are going to come up to the cost at that moment actually. In a single container with different access types
No,
like hot, cold.
when I say it is not individual file, you can calculate the cost. It's a general cost. Azure is giving you for your understanding purpose. It is not like Azure will give you for each file cast. On a high level
Okay.
for storage, it will say this is the charge I'm charging you, but this is it will be followed in the back.
No, no, my thing is like, no, now see, in the same scenario, you are selected here as hot, you are showing us $20 for example here, right? So if you opted for the specific, setup, like, paid $20, and in the real time scenario, like, if you go back to the same page, to the container, so there are options, right? It's allowing us to change the file options there, correct?
Correct.
So here now see, by default it's hot, correct? So I
Yes.
paid $20 for this particular access tire. So still it's allowing us to modify the tire from what is
It is
hot to
not
cold.
like you are paying upfront, Chiranjeevi. So nothing will be an upfront cost. You will be get
Uh-huh.
charged for at the end of the month. So whatever I'm showing you the cost detail,
Okay.
it is monthly bill.
Okay. It's like, mix. I mean, if there is like, say for example, like 100 MB of,
I will
if,
give you an
if you
example.
use,
I will
yeah.
give an example. You have 1000 GB. Assume that 1000 GB actual cost is $20. In a 1000 GB, assume that you have had a data 500 GB of a data in archival tier. So you will be charged for $1. Next 250 GB of a data, you are in a hard tier. You will be charged for another $5. Another 250 GB of a data, you are having it in a cool tier. You will be charged for $2.5 more. So total cost if storage account will be $8.
Okay, clear. That's my question is, yeah, got
Yeah,
clear.
I understand. Yeah. Now I want to give you one more use case about the redundancy. So by default, what is the redundancy, guys, here? It is LRS. LRS means it will maintain 3 copies in a local data center. So your charge will be $20 only. So when I select for ZRS, your cost will become $25 because your data will be stored in a different physical data centers in the same region, in a zone. So that the data transfer between these data centers, they will add up $5 more of an extra cost. Assume that this is a very critical data. I'm not in a position to offer the downtime for it. I'm just sending to GRS. It means geo-redundant. It will maintain 3 copies in local, 3 more copies in a different geographic location. Now, what is the cost you are paying for same 1000 GB? How much cost you are seeing here?
$40.
40.
So is it double the cost? Right? So be cautious when you're provisioning the storage account because it doesn't make sense when you're saving only for 1 TB of a storage. Assume that you wrongly selected GRS and you're putting up let's say 100 TB of a data or 1000 TB of a data. What is your cost here? 1000 TB of a data you just place with the GRS. How much you are charging here? Around 38,000 USD dollars. So if the same data if with the LRS you are charging only $19,000. Understand the difference. It is the huge cost implications while doing anything in cloud. Be cautious with when it comes to billing and costing. Clear how the redundancy playing a role with respect to cost?
Yes, but in most of the what they will prefer.
That's what I explained. No, Saidu. If you feel like data is critical, you need to invest.
Okay.
If the data is not critical, it's not gonna impact any of my business, go with the LRS.
Oh,
Unless your business is want to have a high availability whenever there's a disaster happens and they're willing to pay for the cost of a double the charge, you can go with that. But always get cost approval before doing this kind of an operations. Someone should
oh,
review and approve this cost.
okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
So this is what I just want to show you so that you'll get an understanding now. Very good understanding, I believe. So now access tiers, how exactly it is playing a role, right? As well as redundancy, how exactly it is playing a role. I believe now you have fair understanding, right? Next one is if you see the disks, we didn't talk about disks, managed disk, we'll call them managed disks. If you see with the standard hard drive, let's say I just want to have a 102 for 1 TB of a drive. How much I'm paying for one disk for a month? Around $45. Correct? Right? If you see 500 IOPS, right? Throughput is 60 Mbps per second and cost will be $45 for your standard SATA drive. If I change this SATA drive to premium SSD, right? How much I am paying for a same 1 TB? How much I'm paying here? $135. Whereas standard disk you are getting for only $45, very cheaper price. But when you are using premium SSD, you are getting $135. It means equal minimum 2 times of your standard disk cost. Addition, what you are actually getting, instead of 500 IOPS, it does support 5000 IOPS, 10 times of higher capacity of a IOPS. Input and output your disk, your 200 Mbps with the speed, the throughput it does support on your disk. At the same time, you will be charging extra for it. So this is also you should be very cautious when you are creating your virtual machines, when selecting a disk, whether they need really premium disk, and the cost will accordingly will be charged. Right? These are all the things I just want to explain you in the pricing calculator so that you will understand why exactly we need a standard tier, premium tier, why we need redundancy, LRS, GRS, ZRS, right? Why we need access tiers of hard tier, cool tier, and archival tiers. Now, hopefully you got some fair bit of an understanding. Are any questions? Yeah. Shall we proceed?
Yes, sir.
Let me explain different options. That is how you can change the tiers of your file. Apart from that, you have something called acquire lease. When I'm acquiring the lease means if any other Azure services, if the particular file is continuously being integrated and then make use of it, you could see the status as lease status. For example, if I'm acquiring a lease for it, you could see if I want to delete this particular file, if you see this lease status as leased here, if I want to delete this particular file, as this option got enabled here or disabled.
Disabled.
Yeah. So when you are having lease state as leased in a property, you cannot delete the file directly. Okay. So if you want to delete this particular file, first in case, you need to break the lease so that it will come again into lease state will be broken state. Now, if I click on the file, I have an option to delete the file. Is it clear?
So why for we have this option? Is just to lock the file, or is there any specific,
It is the lock the files one reason. So by default, earlier like 5 years before, your virtual machine disk files, right, will be used storage account to store your disk files like OS disk, data disk, right? It will use your Azure storage. We'll call them as a unmanaged disks, right? It is managing by Microsoft. That's why it is managing by us, not managing by Microsoft. We'll call them as an unmanaged disk. Whenever the disk is attached to the VM, by default, you could see the lease status is leased. It because the disk is continuously been using by your virtual machine. Clear? And later that you could see something called snapshots. So snapshot will be used to if you have made some changes to your file. If you want to revert back some changes back to your particular notepad file so that you can have your snapshots to be taken on whatever the frequency you may need. So that what will happen? if the file is modified today and you want to go back to the yesterday state, for example, you could use this snapshots to revert back changes done to your particular file. Is it clear? These are all the typical properties of your blob container. So for now, if you see, all these files are accessible over the internet, right? Because we have this access level as a container anonymous read. Anonymous in the sense anyone can read this. It is not like I am giving a session. I am only the person who can access this content. If I give this URL in the chat window, if you guys click on it, so this particular URL can be accessed anywhere. Right? If you want, you just give a tryout. So that using an internet, if you have the right URL, you can read the data from anywhere in the world. That is because your setting of your container setting is entire container anonymously anyone can read. So if I change this to the private, this should in a real-time scenario, it should always be private. You cannot allow it a anonymous access. It should always be private with no anonymous access. If I change it to the private as access level, if I go back to my this file, if I refresh the screen simply, am I having a access to the file? Similarly, JPG file, I'm refreshing. My video file, I'm refreshing. Am I able to access these files now? Although you know the file URL, exact file content URL, you cannot access because what is the setting I have made it here? I made as a private. Private in the sense no anonymous access. It means no one can directly access it.
Surendra, one question. When you create a snapshot, like where it gets saved actually? Because it will just use the same storage disk
Yes,
or
it
it's
will be same storage and where else it will go. Let's say I'm creating a snapshot. If I click on the file, you have snapshot separate window here.
okay, fine.
You could see
It
when
just
you
keep
have
like okay, it just capture the changes on the specific file, and if
yes.
okay, if at any point like we can revert back. Okay.
If you see, if I select this file, I have an option to promote a snapshot, delete a snapshot options.
Where we can define the duration, like uh, how it captures the change, like hourly,
No, it
day.
is
I
an
mean
on demand. It is an on
interval.
demand, a
I'm
batch
talking about
job.
the interval.
It is not a backup job. It's an on demand job.
Okay. On demand also we can't go with the schedule, right?
Yeah, for that probably we may need to write down our own scripts to do that.
Okay.
On a UI, you don't have an scheduling here.
Okay. Understood. And meaning I need to use the same storage itself. That's what I meant. Okay.
No, it will. You don't have an option actually. So typically to use different storage or different path.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions with the blobs, containers, access tiers, access level from a private to public, public to private, changing the tier from hard to cool, cool to archival, acquiring a lease, breaking the lease, taking a snapshot, revert back to the snapshots, all of the stuff. Any questions so far? Okay. If there is no further questions, we'll talk about file shares now. Shall we? So when I click on a file share here, you can create a file share with the by default, it's gonna create with the 5 TB in a size. We can later on change it. Let's say I'm just saying it's AZT27 we already given, no? This is also I will give sessions only. Sessions, transaction optimized, you could see similar kind of a tires here also, right? Transaction optimized, it will be good amount of accessibility. You have apart from that, you have a hard tier, and then cool tier you have archival storage with a very much cheaper price. I'm just going with the transaction optimized. Just give a name and then select the tier. And this is the IOPS. It is giving read and writes, egress rate, ingress rates. Maximum capacity is 5 TB because we haven't enabled the large file size as part of a creation. If you see now, there's a file share got created. What is the size of it? 5 TB. For our training, is that size is required? Really? We don't need it. You just edit the quota, change it to only 10 GB only. That's it. So that what will happen? My file share size is only 10 GB. Now this is this file share I created in Azure. But what is our requirement, guys? I want to add this AZT27 storage sessions as a file share to my computers wherever I need it. Right? Before that, I will just upload some files, whichever the files we may need to for a testing scenario. So I'm just uploading my text file. I'm uploading my JPEG file. I'm uploading my PNG file. I will upload some more set of I will upload my SSH public key. You upload whatever. It's just a folder similar to your network file, how you will be using it. And downloads, I'm just uploading this one of the MP4 file as well. Let it get upload. This 113 MB in a size. It has been uploading. This is the data. I'm just saying that it is there in your file share now. So what I need, my requirement is I want to add that into my local machine. So apart from my OS drive and a Google Drive, I want to add my sessions as a folder into as a network drive. Okay. Clear? Shall we go ahead and add it? For that, you have one prerequisite. What is your prerequisite for it? To connect a network layer, there is a port name or a port number called 443. Right? That port will be used for your SMB. That is your secure transfer require. This SMB is a protocol it does use in the backend for this file share to connect. To connect that SMB file share, on a network level, you should have a port number is allowed of a 445 port. If the 445 port number is not allowed by your security team or your networking team in your data center, on your server level, on your laptop level, you cannot access this file share. Right? Till that is clear, guys. If you see here, for a Windows, you could just select the drive letter as a Z, and then you just copy paste this script into the PowerShell window, and then it will add a drive as with the Z letter in your wherever you run it, it will connect. Only prerequisite is port number 445 should be allowed. If it's a Linux machine, you just run the script. With the Mac operating system, you just run the script so that you will be get added your network drive. Shall we go ahead and use it as a Windows machine now and see that we'll add this drive called sessions as a network drive. I want to add it in my local machine.
The key got
Okay.
generated by itself, or it's like the key was created by us.
No, it will be auto
Storage
generate.
account.
It will be auto generate.
Auto generate.
So I'm just copying the script. I'm keeping it to the notepad to explain you what exactly it do. So on a first line, it will check PowerShell command. It is testing the connection against this computer name called AZT27 file.code.windows.net with a port number of 445. If the test results is successful, then it will go ahead and run this, open the command prompt and then add this as a network file share with the username and password. And add this as a network. If the port, this results is failed, it's not successful, they are using if condition, else it's not successful, it will throw an error that I'm unable to access the network. Shall we test the connection in my local laptop whether 445 bit opened or not? Who will control the ports in my computer now? My service provider, whoever I'm taking an internet connection today, he will control my outbound connection, internet connections, correct? So I just opened up my PowerShell. It is still be loading. Just give me a minute. Why it is taking this much time? The preview one. Some reasons PowerShell is not opening in my laptop. I try to open the PowerShell AC. So instead of running entire script, I was just want to run the first line to understand the whether the 445 port is opened my service provider. I am using a network connectivity from a Hathway. So now Hathway service provider should be allowed this port. Seems to be some issues with the PowerShell module in my local laptop. So what I will do, instead of having waiting for it, I have my Azure virtual machines, which are created for our training. Air India Dev VM0 to Linux.
ఏం
This is
పెడతావు
Air
ఏం
India Dev
స్పెషల్
VM0.
ఏం స్పెషల్ ఈరోజు నాకు ఇంకా ఇంకేం ఇస్తావు ఇంకా ఓన్లీ టూనేనా
So I'm
నాకు
just
త్రీ
trying to
కావాలి ఇంకేం
use my
ఇస్తావు
Azure VM
ఆ
to
బొట్లు
form.
పెడతాను ఈరోజు నువ్వే నాకు నువ్వు తినిపిస్తావా ఎట్లా తినిపిస్తావు ఎట్లా తినిపిస్తావు అమ్మ చెప్పు డాడీకి తినిపిస్తాను ప్లేట్లో అప్పుడు రెడీగా పెట్టాను చెప్పు
Why it is failed? Allocation is failed. Let me use this VM01 which I created for my just starting this VM. As I'm unable to open my PowerShell module to test and map as a network drive, so I'm just going and trying in the Azure virtual machine so that I don't have any restrictions when it comes to Azure. Right? If you see I don't get a public IP, give me a minute. I'm enabling the IP address for my VM01. This is my public IP. I'm going to RTP. So I'm just copying the PowerShell command to test the 445 port is opened or not. Windows PowerShell. So if you see that, I was just copying the command. It is loading. Are you able to see? I am running a command called test-net connection. Computer name is AZT27 file.core.windows.net. Port number is 445. I'm just clicking on enter. So what it will do now, it will try to check the connectivity. 445 port is allowed from my virtual machine or not. If you see now, the test connection is yet to initiate. This system also is pretty slow because I assigned only one core for it, one CPU. We are struggling to run one PowerShell command here today. Yeah, if you see now, test network connection, it is attempting to TCP connect. So what is the response here? Whether true or false? What you are seeing as a TCP test succeeded status is a true or false?
True only.
So when it is true, from this virtual machine, I am able to reach the SMB port of 445. It means I can attach my Azure file share as a network. That is the prerequisite, guys, to remember. Now what I will do, I was just opening this computer. So how many disks it has? It has a C drive. It has a temporary free drive of D drive of 7 GB, right? One C drive, one D drive you have. Now what is our expectation? Post running the entire network drive, I should be having one network drive get attached to my VM, right? For that, what I will do, I'm copying my entire script. Go back to the PowerShell, right click, so that the script will be get copied and then run it. Simple as that. Let me try once again. Copy. Enter. If you see now, credentials added successfully, and the script will automatically get added. Are you able to see that? There's a disk is added with the drive letter of a Z. User space is only 0.11 GB. Free space is 9.81 GB. If I go here, are you able to see the disk here? Sessions as a network drive.
Yeah.
So like this, you can map Azure file shares anywhere, any computer. Only prerequisite is 445 port should communicate to the outside world. That is the only prerequisite. Let's say I can get into this network. I can create whatever the files we upload in a portal. You could see them here. And you can do, let's say, whatever the modification you want. Let's say I want to create a folder 01. And let's say I want to create one notepad file test. And I want to create one more folder. Let's say folder 02. So it means typically you can add the data, removing the data can be done from this window itself. For your entire file share can be behave as your local drive to your computer. So if I go back to my portal, that is AZT27 is the storage account. If I go back to my file shares under sessions, are you able to see this data folder 01, folder 02, text files, whatever I have made changes there?
Yes.
Right? Like this, you typically create and manage the Azure file shares and can can be added as a network drives to any system, any flavor of an operating system. I have given a demonstration only for a Windows machine, right? But these file shares can be added as a shared folder to your Linux machines, Windows machines, Mac operating systems, right? From anywhere in the internet.
Surinder, actually, I have three RDPs I used to log in daily. So what I observed is when I log into the mission, there was a one network drive will create,
Right.
but that is my name only.
No, that's what I'm saying. That is how your infrastructure team is designed. They have given you one dedicated folder in their file server, not from Azure, that is.
For example, but same RDP other one you also, so for example same IP is using some other members, so we can create as means each user we can create a separate network layer, network drive.
Yeah, create it, not a problem, no? Let's say
How?
here,
Okay.
I can create, I do click on for a capital letter.
Okay, same we can create multiple file shares, network
Yes,
layers.
either ways, one VM can have multiple network folders. One folder can be added to the multiple machines. Vice versa, it can be possible. No restriction.
Okay. Okay. Saidu, for example, Saidu network drive was created. Only I have to only I have to access it, so no one can access that folder. How will you provide the access that time for particular to my name?
That can be controlled via something called Active Directory.
Okay.
So Active Directory concept we are yet to discuss. So once you get into that concept, you will get understand. For now, if you see here, Active Directory is not configured.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Using your Active Directory AD username and password, this can be controlled.
One more soft disable something is there option.
Sorry?
One more that one.
Software is nothing but if you're deleting a file, if I enable this,
Hmm.
what will happen? It will not be deleted in the permanently in the backend. If I say
Okay.
enable, if I make it, let's say 7 days, what will happen? Whenever I delete some files, it will not delete permanently. It will be
Mhm.
there in the system to 7 days to recover the data.
Okay. Okay.
That is why we'll call a soft delete as an option.
Okay.
Any questions, guys, with the file share?
Actually, today I got an issue, same issue. Okay, now I got clear. So actually, I deleted some files in my network folder, but I
Mm-hmm.
told to my manager, so it's not my network. So maybe someone can access. They can delete it as same network file share. But
Mm-hmm.
it will know it's only network I create for your name only. No one can access the site. So now I got it. So
Okay,
using Active Directory, we can provide the individual service to the particular Active Directory.
correct. You can define the permissions actually.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? For today?
Surinder, one more option. For example, I create one snapshot. Maybe 2000 last year I created one snapshot. So now I want to use that is old snapshot. So it will be there in a repository only.
Yes, yes. For a blobs, yes, it will be there.
For example, someone deleted in not intending by mistakenly. Is there any recycle bin like that? It will restore store there, or else it will permanently it will delete.
That's what we just soft delete.
Okay.
Yeah. Starability is the same option. We don't have visibility. It will be completely managed by Microsoft. But whatever the number of days you give it, it will be maintained that many days.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. If there is no further questions, we'll wind up the session for today and come back tomorrow to show you multiple other options for a keys storage account. And then subsequently we'll talk about Storage Explorer as a tool. Okay.
Surinder, while creating VM, IP address up to our option we can provide. Is there any 10.40. Is there any serial wise we have to follow?
Correct. You need to follow. We'll discuss those series. Nothing to worry.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So networking we're yet to discuss. I do probably after 2 more sessions will be in a storage concept. Then immediately we'll jump into the networking area. By that time, I will give you all the IPs, allowed IPs you can make use of it in the cloud or wherever it is.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Saidu. That IP segments I will help you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Surinder.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.